How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No, you're going to answer the
theatrics are
question the way I
ridiculous.
asked it.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch.
Reclaim
Not
it?
on our time. No way.
Reclaim
And I
it?
told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me
Yeah, oh, I
anything,
did tell you because we
washed
saw
up
what you did in the
loser
Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
I'm going to teach you the rules again. You're the Attorney General of the United States. We have rules here.
You're obsessed with him.
You're the Attorney General of the United States.
You're
And the rules.
obsessed with Donald Trump. You have Trump derangement syndrome.
That's just one of the many contentious exchanges yesterday.
It's just childlike. I've got to say, there was an Atlantic piece a couple weeks ago asking what happened to Pam Bondi. I mean, a lot of people in Florida that worked with her liked her very much, that respected her. And this Atlantic piece really goes through all of it. And we're going to get to just the humiliation that she allowed herself to be a part of yesterday. Just really one of the saddest, most pitiful, just cringe-inducing performances in Capitol Hill history. I've been around for quite a while, but old friends of Pam Bondi's, and I've known Pam for a very long time. Mm-hmm. As one person said, who said they knew and loved Pam Bondi, said to a reporter, you know, we're all asking what the F happened to Pam. There's another one who said she's tried to forgive her, she's tried to look past it, she's tried, and her quote is, she went cheap for power. Was it worth it, Pam? Was it really worth it? And yesterday was just, the low light of it was when she was being asked.
There's so many.
There's so many, but for me, and I think for a lot of observers, the low light was she was asked, are you going to start protecting these women who were raped as young girls? Are you going to start arresting the men, the powerful and rich men who you're protecting right now, who raped these young girls? And she responded by saying, didn't talk about the raped girls, didn't talk about the rich and powerful men who were evading justice because of her and because of this administration. She said, what we really should be talking about, not the raped girls, not the rich and powerful men, but what we should really be talking about is the Dow Industrial. You cannot make that up. That is so offensive, so repulsive that anybody would actually say that. But there it was, that times 20 throughout the day yesterday. And I've got to say, as somebody that has known her for a long time, I just feel sorry for her. And I ask the same question her friends are asking. Is it really worth it? What is worth doing that to yourself and your reputation and your country? And this, Willie, of course, comes on the heels of her. And this is one of those Rubicon moments that we have every day. But here's another Rubicon moment.
Yeah.
Trying to charge 6 United States senators for exercising their First Amendment rights and simply restating military law, simply restating what Pete Hegseth had said before, simply restating what Pam Bondi had said the year before in a court filing about service people breaking the law. But she lets it move forward without thinking. That continues, Willie.
Yeah, and a grand jury rejected that argument a couple of days ago in federal court in Washington. But, I mean, you're right. It's a question we have asked and could ask about so many people over the last decade or so. Has it been worth it? Was it worth it to give up everything you said you stood for, everything you did stand for in many cases, to be close to power? And you're right. I mean, the insults, the talking points, the performative outrage that we saw from the Attorney General were all outrageous and ridiculous, but what they mask is the fact that she would not answer any questions about the Epstein files, which raises the question, and again, I don't know why they're doing all of this. raises the question of who she, the Attorney General, is protecting and why she is protecting that person or those people. Not answering basic yes or no questions about indictments, facts inside the Epstein files, redactions in the Epstein files. Wouldn't answer them, instead went to her notes and attacked the person asking the question, including, as you pointed out, this is the moment Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, responded to a question from New York Congressman Jerry Nadler, asked her about how many of Epstein's co-conspirators have been indicted. Here's how she responded.
None of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over, the Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing.
The Attorney General of the United States asked about the rape of teenage girls, Joe.
Yeah, we're laughing because she's making a fool of herself.
Complete fool of herself.
Like she actually thinks.
So brutally obvious.
She actually thinks that everybody's a 5-year-old in that room. Mm-hmm. Like, she's exposed, making a fool of herself. The question is about young girls who have been raped, not about the S&P 500. The question is about people all around Donald Trump. I could list the names, those in government, those in his family, those around him that are all over the Epstein files. All over the Epstein files. And yet the richest and the most powerful among them, the people, the Epstein class who is running this government, is still being protected by Pam Bondi. Her binders full of information? Yeah, nothing was in that. And now they're desperately trying to continue to keep this from the American people. Who is in the Epstein class that they are trying to protect? You got a Commerce Secretary who's been caught lying through his teeth, saying that he stopped seeing Epstein in 2005. He took his family to Rape Island like 7 years later. He lived next door to the guy. But nothing happens. Nothing happens. And by the way, this is a Republican issue. This was a MAGA issue.
It was.
This is what all of them, the FBI director, Pam Bondi, everybody was talking about the Epstein files. The Epstein files. When we're in charge, we're going to get rid of, all of the hidden rapists and all of the hidden pedophiles out there who are in powerful positions. Instead, it's a cover-up. They keep covering up, and it's not just the Democrats on the committee saying it. Thomas Massie of Kentucky, who, by the way, Thomas Massie of Kentucky is saying the same thing now. The Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and all these other MAGA supporters were saying before the election, before they had the power to actually release the Epstein files. Now that they have that power, it looks like a cover-up. So Massie, of course, co-sponsored the discharge petition for the release of the Epstein files. And this is what the Republican had to say to Pam Bondi yesterday.
Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time. Mr. Chairman.
This is how this works.
Can I have my time back? Mr. Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from Kentucky.
All right, I'm reclaiming my time.
Can I give my answer?
So I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman, may I give my answer on that? It's a political joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his next question.
It's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700,
co-conspirator.
and we invited you in.
Gentlemen,
This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get. You're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
You need to
I
get
want
on
you to watch
these
the video.
matters.
Mr. Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules
There
here.
is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
Is that your position as well?
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I am reclaiming
at all
my
the
time.
last
I'm
4
glad you're
years?
asking about Merrick Garland.
You don't get to reclaim
because
time
this
when
is
you don't-
bigger than
when you can't-
Watergate.
when I don't answer a question the
this
way you
goes
want.
over 4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
Yeah, the cover-up spans decades.
Basically the face of it.
She thinks she's now the face of the cover-up for this administration, and she can keep trying to talk over people, but that doesn't obscure the fact that she's part of a huge cover-up right now.
It was a very helpful display.
There's all these redactions. It took him forever to do it. She wouldn't even let him read. Think about this. She would not even let him read the law. She started into her petty little insults because she did not want a United States congressman to read the law that passed the House of Representatives 427-1. And she said she was ready to hear from the victims. No, the victims stood up, and she refused to turn around and even look at them. Let me say that again. The victims, there were many victims who were there, and Pam Bondi refused to turn around and even look at them. Instead, she comes with these literally 5-year-old insults. If I'm that, what does that make you? Basically, is it a failed lawyer or burned out whatever or Trump derangement? No. Those that have Trump derangement syndrome are those who've basically thrown all of their professional careers overboard because they're so deranged at trying to get into the good graces of Donald Trump that they will literally ignore child rape victims when they're right behind them.
So if we could put that shot up where it's Bondi, 2-shot with the victims. I just think it's interesting because here was her moment on the national stage as the Attorney General of the United States, to be a woman who stands up for other women.
She won't turn around.
She decided to turn her back on victims of repeated sexual abuse, some of them at the time in their lives when they were children. That right there is who Pam Bondi is now. And I mean, for Republicans who remain silent, who continue to follow in these footsteps, it's going to get harder, as you could see yesterday. As you could see yesterday, it's getting harder to do what you do because it looks terrible. It looks so obvious. It looks so brutally obvious that you are not working for the American people at all.
Are working for these women who, as young girls, were trafficked, were abused, were molested, were passed around.
I just can't believe as a woman she would put herself in that position.
And so now we have the
an American
image of her turning her back on child rape victims. And she's doing it literally and in her work as the Attorney General.
And these victims even say now they would go back in and work with the Justice Department with her after that. And nothing.
They don't work. Let's bring in